Hello and welcome. This is the second match of today. I am in the tier 8 Japanese carrier, the Shoukaku again. And it's again on the map Trap and well, this time I'll be doing it slightly differently because this game happened after the first one. Not like right after, but you know, sometime later in the day today. So this time I will be trying out this strategy, so to say, where I launch my dive bombers first, fighters second, and torpedo bombers third. This way I will be immediately looking for a big target to hit, like a battleship that is alone. But I also recognize the weakness of this strategy, essentially, which is that what happens if I don't find any of those battleships? Because ships, especially big ships, are really tightly together at first, which means that, you know, if there are battleships alone, they might, or, you know, there are battleships, they might still be in spawn next to other battleships, which means that striking them is difficult. Also, I changed my mind on where I wanted my carrier to go. I wanted to remain on the right side. Like, the reason why I think launching torpedo bombers first might be more useful actually is because, well, you're going for destroyers at first, and, well, destroyers are the ones that are the most likely to get into cap zones and, you know, towards your side of the map, so you don't have to fly as far away. But anyways, I will try striking this Tirpitz that seems to be coming straight at me. Unfortunately, you know, float planes as usual ruin everything. It's one of the biggest annoyances that I have with playing carriers, because I don't really see what I can do against these float planes. It's not really feasible to use fighters to kill float planes, because usually you lose some planes for the to the anti-air of the ship, which makes it completely useless, because if you lose planes, you are then really weak against the enemy carrier. By the way, this time I'm against a Lexington instead of a Shoukaku. And I still haven't seen any planes. This is why I'm bringing one fighter squadron back, because maybe it's like a strike Lexington and she's flying around the map to try to strike me. So I bring one fighter back so that if I do find it, I will be able to, you know, not die, at least not immediately, or not take so much damage. But now I actually see where the Lexington planes are, and I will try to intercept with my fighters, but they are really far away. Meanwhile, I will try to strike this Mitsuki. I will try to do like a cross drop, but unfortunately I kind of screwed that one up at first. So let's try to reposition a little bit and try to do it again. Let's see what the Mitsuki does. Okay, I'll drop on one side. And then, you know, have the other one in position. Although if the Mitsuki had started turning on the other side, I think I would have been screwed. And I did both of the drops, and I believe I would have got a decent cross drop off, but it was completely useless because that Mitsuki managed to take two torpedoes of, well, both sides. I mean, from the one squadron. Also, unfortunately, I wasn't quite on time to react to this Lexington attack, but it's okay. I will try to make it as costly as possible for the Lexington. You know, making him run out of planes would be really useful for my team. I will try to cycle one of the fighters. Also, one of the things why I hate playing US carriers is because Japanese carriers cycle planes so much faster. Like, sure, right now I just shot down some strike planes, but the thing is that my fighters will be able to fly back to my ship, rearm, and get back up there again at pretty much the same time as the Lexington strike planes will be able to go and strike, or, you know, more or less the same time. I brought this dive bomber squadron over here to try to strike the New York, but it's kinda useless because they don't really have a follow-up, so I can't do a damage over time effect. So it's pointless to strike alone. I brought my fighter over to try to take care of the float plane, but it's useless because it threatens nothing. Not to mention a friendly cruiser was dealing with it anyway. So I'm just going to have the fighter be idle over there. I do wish that the fighter squadrons, like the circles they do when they are idle, I wish they were really small. I just don't see why they have to be so big. It's kinda useless. And it just means that anytime you leave your planes unattended, it's problematic. Okay, so I have a second squadron over here. So it's okay to drop on the New York right now. To eat the Damacon and then follow up with the second squadron. Okay, 2 fires. Now I'll just wait until he uses Damacon. Well, he has 2 fires going, he still has not used Damacon, and I will be bringing my torpedo bombers over here on this Bayern. I'll strike with 1 squadron first, the second one will wait until Damacon is used, and then the second squadron will strike for a flooding. And this guy still has not repaired it. I will make that weird, you know, that weird, I don't know what to call it. Basically, I don't want my dive bomber squadron to go idle. I just want it to, like, you know, I don't want to give it any useful commands, but I don't want it to go for the idle command because it looks idiotic. Okay, so it seems that this guy is not actually going to Damacon it, so I'll just drop again to refresh the fires and, you know, maybe it'll last as well. Okay, so the Bayern has been struck, so time to come in for follow-up strike. I should care for enemy strikes by the Lexington. I'm not quite certain where it's going to be though. Okay, so I'm not actually sure if this dive bomber on this New York is worth it anymore, because there are so many allies around that it will just die, but I will definitely take this Bayern kill because, well, I want it. I don't think I would be able to kill secure the New York anyway, even if I tried. Those torpedoes seem like they will miss, unfortunately, but the New York should still be dead. Okay, so I saw where the strike was, but unfortunately I wasn't really paying attention, and because of that, most of the strike got through. I did manage to... No, I didn't do shit against the torpedo bombers. Sure, I killed 4 of them, but it was too late. The torps were already in the water by that time. Oh well, was my screw up completely. But then again, you know, the battleship should have at least tried to dodge it in some way, which he didn't seem to be doing. Okay, so I will use my dive bombers instead on the Tirpitz. We seem to be quite far ahead actually, 5 ships to 3, so I don't think we actually need that second cap zone right now. Okay, I got the fire on this Tirpitz, that's very good. But now I will want to wait until the Tirpitz actually Damacons that fire. But he seems to not actually want to do it. I will move my 1 fighter that has ammunition over at the B area to try to spot the DD. Yes, one thing I could do is I could go for my friendly battleship at the south and try to spot the DD for him to keep him safe, but I feel that it's better for me to spot the DD at B because he threatens potentially more allies and, well, they are closer to my allies, which means that the carrier is more likely to strike that group instead of the lone battleship at B, although I guess the lone battleship at B is a decent target. But that's not strategically important right now for us, because we really want to kill all these ships off here, since all our enemies are here, so putting more firepower in this direction is a good idea in my opinion. So, dive bombing on this Tirpitz. I got lucky, the strike happened before the float planes interrupted. And I guess at this point I might as well just follow up with my torpedo bomber strike, no? Also, I got really lucky with killing the float plane again. Seriously, float planes are really annoying for me. Like, far more annoying than strong anti-air or anything like that, because I can't really plan around float planes unless I know that they already are there, and, you know, even if you can know, I don't know specifically where they are, so it can still screw things, and this Tirpitz is turning away, so He's giving me a nice broadside, but I'm not really used to doing these kinds of drops, so this drop isn't actually very good, and 2 of those got shot down anyway. Unfortunately, I didn't even get the flooding over there. Oh well, the fire might not quite kill the Tirpitz, but it's okay. I will use my second squadron to strike this other Tirpitz. This one's turning in, so I don't think I'm gonna hit more than 2, maybe 3. Definitely not 4 though. And yeah, it was 2 hits. It was quite close, almost the 3rd one, but it's okay. So we know more or less where the enemy carrier is. Unfortunately, battleship at B. Sorry, I guess I will be holding my planes in your direction now, because we know that the carrier is definitely going for you, Byron, but unfortunately, you know, so far the strike was not intercepted by me well. I will try to help you with this torpedo bomber though. Unfortunately, I aimed the drop really weirdly, so it didn't work out. Luckily though, the Lexington you know, wanted to drop immediately because the Byron was turning, and because of the fighters probably, that I got a nice, you know, that the drop by the Lexington was completely wasted. So I managed to be able, you know, so I managed to actually kill the squadron, and it did no damage, so it was okay. Tried to set this Tirpitz on fire. I don't even know how this dive bomber got over here. I must have just given it an order earlier. And I guess I'll try to spot this Mahan for a little bit. Actually, right now, I think I made a mistake there. I brought my fighter over thinking, oh, you know, my friendly ships are going to spot, but honestly, if I were one of the ships in B, that was actually a mistake. I should be very near the Mahan, or at least between the Mahan and my allies, so that if the Mahan fires torpedoes, I will spot them for my allies, so that my allies, you know, have more time to react to it. But luckily, the Mahan didn't do that, but she might in a moment, so in that case, I might be in position to intercept it. And I will use this dive bomber squadron to strike the Tirpitz again. And then the torpedo bombers will go over to the to try to hunt the carrier down, or at least try to do like an attack on it. Okay, so the Mahan was dealt with, which is very good. And at this point, I guess I will try to defend the group in the middle, and you know, maybe bring like 1 dive bomber over to the shores, and the rest goes to try to strike the Lexington, although I don't, you know, hold out much hope for that being very useful. I'll still try, and I'll try to intercept planes, of course. Honestly, this game's over, so there's like no chance of losing this at this point. Okay, so the Lexington seems to try to want to go around it, but honestly, it's not really going to work. I guess if he groups up his planes and goes with everything at once and from different directions, I'm probably not going to be able to intercept all of them, but I should be able to get a good portion of them. Also, I think at this point, the Lexington is very close to the border, but it should be closer, because right now I can do a decently close drop. If he were slightly closer to the border, I couldn't. I would have to do a very long range drop, which, you know, under defensive fire is like impossible to hit. And I actually hit 2 of them, which is surprising. And I completely screwed this strafe up on the dive bombers. Hopefully I'll try to fix it. No, never mind. I completely screwed this one up. Jesus Christ. Okay, so they're going for the Fiji, which is okay. But honestly, I completely screwed this one up. This is really embarrassing. Okay, it really isn't, but you know, I wish I had not screwed it up. Okay, so that strafe at least got the retreating dive bombers, but honestly, retreating is too late. And I forgot completely about this dive bomber, so let's try to, you know, actually drop on the shores, and maybe I'll do some damage with my 2 bombs. Wow, I actually hit 2 fires even. Jesus. That's some really nice RNG for me. But the game's gonna end in a moment. Fortunately, the Lexington didn't go down, but it's okay. I still feel like I did my part. I could have done a lot better though. I definitely need to use my fighters in a better way. Try to strafe in more appropriate ways. Although striking in this game went rather well. 149,000 damage, 14 torpedo hits, 15 bomb hits, 32 plane shutdowns, so overall the number of planes I shot down is okay, but you know, I shot down many of them while they were returning rather than while they were attacking, so it was a bit of a waste. I got Confederate First Blood, Devastating Strike, High Caliber, 3 ship kills, 9 fires, 7 flooding, so, you know, overall the result was okay. I definitely did more than or likely did more than the enemy Lexington, but it could have been better. It could have been a lot better. I made a lot of mistakes in both of these, you know, Shoukaku games. And this is actually one of the reasons why I don't really like carriers as much, because there's so many things you can definitely do better in, and you don't really get rewarded for it that much, because the credits are poor, the experience is poor, so that means free experience is poor, captain training because of it is also poor. Like, there aren't many reasons to play carriers, not to mention you get all this abuse about carriers, and on top of everything else, it doesn't feel as fun as playing like a battleship or a destroyer most of the time. Oh well, it is what it is, I guess. Team score wise, I again wasn't even number 1, 1764 experience. I guess the Fiji on our team did decently well, or means very well too, with his 1900 experience, also 3 ship kills. So that guy also played well. I guess nothing more to see there. And this is how the damage went. 82,000 with torpedoes, 16,000 with bombs. No Wither this time, but I still did 50,000 damage over time effect, so that damage over time thing is just so good. And I made a profit of 116,000, considering it's tier 6, tier 8, that's not that much. Really not that much. I don't understand quite why carriers have the 4 flag limit rather than 8 like the other ships, because if I now want to add things like the credits flag, Zulu, and then I want to add the repair cost reduction flag, that's literally half of all the flags that I could use, and that's a bit of a big, you know, you might want to use other flags instead of them. Well, I don't really want to do it anymore because, well, credits earning on carriers is bad, so it's not worth it, but still, I wish it would have been like 6 instead. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, or these videos, and I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon now. Thank you very much for your continued support, Daniel, Pequin, and I hope I see you guys next time.